A developing story out of our nation's capital. That's where two members of the National Guard were shot in an alleged targeted attack just blocks away from the White House. This is the 10 o'clock news. I'm Jason Martinez.
I'm Sheba Russell. It was a brazen act of violence in Washington, D.C., just a day before the country celebrates Thanksgiving. And here's what we know so far. Metro police say they believe the shots were fired around 2:15 this afternoon near the Farragut West Metro station at the corner of 17th and I Street Northwest. Two National Guard members from West Virginia were struck by gunfire. At last check, both are in critical condition.
And the shooter is also shot and is now in custody. That shooter is reported to be an Afghan national, identified by Fox News by sources as 29-year-old Ranmala Lakanwul, who entered the U.S. in 2021 and had been living in Washington state. Fox's Caroline Shively joins us from Washington, D.C.
And Caroline, you've been on the scene for several hours now. What can you tell us tonight?
Good evening, Jason and Sheba. I can tell you that this accused shooter did indeed enter the United States in 2021 under something called a humanitarian parole program. However, he did have a visa at the time, but he overstayed that visa, which expired in September.
Heard boom, boom, 2 times.
Witnesses describe it as a chaotic scene, the moment 2 National Guard members were shot while out patrolling D.C.'s Farragut Square area.
We heard gunshots, so we ran about 4 or 5 storefronts down I Street. Then we kind of thought maybe it was construction. Then we heard another round of gunshots.
Police say the suspect is now in custody, injured while exchanging gunfire with other National Guard members.
It appears, like I said, to be a lone gunman that raised a firearm and ambushed these members of the National Guard, and he was quickly taken into custody by other National Guard members.
While police have ruled out other suspects, a motive is still unclear. The FBI is taking the lead and investigating this as a possible act of international terrorism.
We are in the preliminary stages of this investigation. We will run down every single lead, every piece of evidence.
In a social media post, President Trump warned the suspect will, quote, pay a very steep price. Hours later, he requested the Pentagon send an additional 500 Guard members to the D.C. area. There are already 2,200 across the city, even though their presence has been contentious, fueling court fights and debate over the military being deployed to major cities. The Guard has been in D.C. since August. Last Thursday, a federal judge said that deployment was illegal and ordered it stop. However, that is under hold during the appeals process. The Trump administration filed that appeal this afternoon. Jason and Sheba, back to you.
All right, Caroline Shively, thank you very much. And tonight, President Donald Trump is calling for a reinvestigation of all Afghan refugees who came in under former President Joe Biden's administration. He spoke out just moments ago.
The Department of Homeland Security is confident that the suspect in custody is a foreigner who entered our country from Afghanistan, a hellhole on earth. He was flown in by the Biden administration in September 2021 on those infamous flights that everybody was talking about. Nobody knew who was coming in. Nobody knew anything about it. His status was extended under legislation signed by President Biden.
Say that.
Tonight, investigators believe the suspect acted alone.